So today I have the July Scrawlrbox, and I'm gonna open it up and see what we get. It looks like it didn't have that rough of a shipping time, which is good, although there are still some things that are spilling out. Oh, it looks like I got paint this month. So these are the Cobra water mixable oil color. I've got it in a blue, a red, and a white. Got a paintbrush that is Scrawlrbox logoed, and it feels pretty good. It's really soft yet kind of firm. I don't normally use the square brushes. I'm not sure what this little card is. It's got scissors on it. It looks like I'm supposed to cut on the scissors and it makes a shape. This is a little canvas. Our sticker this month is really cute, and our print is by Katie Jobling. It's really pretty. I love the florals, and I guess it's just a piece of tissue paper? I don't know. Alright, so it sounds like the paint is supposed to act like oil paint, but it is water soluble, which is strange. I've never played with a paint like that before. Normally an oil paint would not get along with the water. Alright, so I read the description a little bit. Turns out this piece of paper is actually a palette. So I'm supposed to be able to use it to mix my colors, and I guess it's just supposed to work in place of my normal palette. Because my canvas is so small and square, I don't want to go ahead and sketch on it. So I've got a piece of paper. I'm going to just trace the square onto it, and we're going to swatch. And then I'm going to use it to do a few tests and see what I like. It's weird because these actually smell exactly like oil paints, which is so weird to me. But we're gonna see how they work. I think I may have watered it down a little bit too much. I definitely just kind of wanted to see what happens when they mix with water, but they're still staying together, so I guess they're a paint. They're doing what I would expect. I'm not sure why I'm putting the white down. I cannot see it. It's a white paint on a white paper. I don't know, the red feels a little bit thicker for some reason, but I do like these colors. My one complaint is I can make red, blue, and purple. That's pretty much the only colors I can make with these. I really wish that subscription boxes would throw in a yellow or something as well, just because then you could make a little bit more diversity. But yeah, just because the fact that they can only combine into purple. They are blending really nice. I am adding a little extra water just to see what they do. I don't want to have any surprises when I start using it on the canvas. I'm taking the pencil that came from Derwent, and I'm just tracing the square so that I can get a little bit of an idea about what I want, where I want it. Because the theme is abstract floral, I definitely need to do something floral. Apparently you're supposed to use part of the card to mix your paint, and while it does kind of work like a palette knife, I don't think this is the method for me. It's just a little bit hard to hold. But it is a really cool idea, and if you know a little bit more about what you're doing, I think it's a really nice way to incorporate some interesting textures. But for me, it's not doing what I want it to do. I do keep kind of falling into my old bad habits where instead of making colors on a palette, I just kind of blob them onto the paper, and unfortunately this does lead to the colors getting kind of muddy. Since it is summertime, I keep seeing really pretty hydrangea bushes everywhere I go, and we can't have them where I live because we have cats and they like to eat vegetation, and hydrangeas are very poisonous to cats, so I'm trying to just make it work. Unfortunately, hydrangeas are not my strong suit. So I sketched around off camera and decided I like to paint, I like to draw people, so I'm gonna have this girl, and a flower I can draw is a wisteria, so she's gonna be in front of a bunch of wisteria vines, because those are one of my favorite flowers, and one day I will have a house in the climate that allows for wisteria. I live in the mountains. Wisteria would not survive. One of the things I do really like about doing the Scrawlrbox challenges is I get to play around with stuff I don't normally do. Unfortunately, because I am drawing a person, I know that my Scrawlrbox brush is not going to help me out here. It's too big for details, so I'm going to introduce a couple of smaller brushes just to give it a fighting chance. I'm going over it with my kneaded eraser so that I can pick up some of that graphite. Hopefully I won't be picking up any of that graphite with my paintbrush, because for watercolor, if you go over graphite, the watercolor seals it in, and a lot of times with acrylic, if you're using light colors, it will pick up your graphite and mix it into your paint. And I vaguely remember light colored oils doing this in college as well. The first stage of any painting is you have to make it ugly. You're going to have an adorable sketch, then you're going to lay a few layers of paint on it, it's going to look ugly, and you just have to keep pushing through and refining it, and eventually it will turn out good again. You just got to keep in mind that it's only temporarily ugly. I don't like to cover the entire thing because I do need some reference point of where the eyes are, where the nose is, and so a lot of times I'll leave certain areas kind of blank just so that I don't lose all point of reference. I'm going in a little bit with white to add some highlights, and I'm going in with some of that darker blue to add some shadows and define a little bit more of the features. Overall, I really do like how this medium behaves. I honestly have not painted with oils in years, so it's kind of nice to be able to play with the new medium. If I was going to get more into oils after this, I would definitely pick up a few more colors. However, because of the drying time, I'm always a little hesitant because I want to continue on now. I hate having to wait for paint to dry. And that's part of why I love gouache so much, is because it's basically an opaque watercolor. Give it 5 minutes, it's dry. That's why I like markers. Markers are also a fast drying medium. And then I'm refining it a little bit, adding in the eyes. This is the stage right after the ugly stage. So it's when it's still kind of ugly, but you can see that you're getting close to what you want. And you will see, I do go over parts many times. Because that is how I paint. I always have to go over an area a lot in order to get it to be something I like. And now I'm moving on to the hair, and I was definitely at a loss of what I wanted to do. I had thought about making it a pale blue, just for contrast, but a pale blue and the pale purple skin was looking a little too close, and I thought, well, I like pink. And realizing that most of this painting was going to be purple with the wisteria. I thought the pink would add a nice little pop of warmth and kind of draw your eye a little bit more towards the center. And now we get into the refining of the hair. I went over first with a really light wash of the pink, just to kind of keep where the hair bits were gonna be. I think it turned out pretty good in the end, to be honest. I do like how the hair turned out. I definitely do go over spots a few times and add highlights to the hair, add shadow to the hair. I didn't mix enough of the pink, so I had to mix the pink a couple of times, so that also added a little bit of depth. And then I'm just gonna be bouncing back and forth between the hair, the face, the hair, the face, the hair, the face, just because I'm not the kind of artist that can just do all of one piece and then go on to the next. I have to always be bouncing around. Then adding more shadows, adding more highlights, adding more shadows, adding more highlights. I honestly don't know what I'm doing. I have not used oil paint in at least 8 years. I still have all of my oil painting supplies from college, but because they smell so bad and you need so many bits to paint safely, I just haven't used them. And then I decided to move on to the background. Like I said, it is going to be wisteria, so I'm painting it various shades of purple, and that's just because I want to have her as the focus, so she needs to be a lighter tone than the background. But wisteria is a lot of different colors of purple, so I also need to make sure it's a good middle tone so I can add some darker threads of wisteria and some lighter threads of wisteria. Something that I definitely should have tried more was texturing, because that's one of the reasons why you get oil paint, is you get oil paint to do textures. And I kept it pretty even throughout. I am curious how cold wax would work with this, because in normal oil painting, if you want to get a lot of texture and not use all your paint, you would use something called cold wax, and you mix it in, and then you can have these crazy textures with only using half your paint. Wisteria, I figure, are pretty simple, so I just took the big brush and just globbed on a few kind of test areas, and liking what I saw, I blended a couple out to add some more depth, and then I'm just going nuts adding all the wisteria that I could. I didn't want her to be in front of all of it, I did want a few to be in front of her, so as you can see, I added a couple in the foreground, there's some in the midground and the background. Because I was realizing that I didn't plan on what color her dress was going to be, I decided to just make it white, because so much of the painting was already colored in with something else. I thought the white might stand out a little bit. And then I just couldn't find a happy medium for the hair. It was close to what I wanted, but it wasn't quite doing what I wanted it to do. And part of that was because I had just put too much paint in an area and it wasn't drying, so I'm just kind of globbing blending it here, and it's being difficult and it's not working how I thought it would, and you know how it is with paint. It's unpredictable. But then I decided that I wanted her to have some freckles, so I added some freckles in, redefined the collarbone, the chin. One of my big downfalls that I will always have with oil painting is I overblend it so much. Added in some highlights for the eyes, I go back and add the eyebrows, I go back and add more highlights. I never really know the right way to paint, so I kind of just start tapping on the canvas. I don't think that's the right way to do it, but it works okay for me. Overall, I really do like these mediums. I really do like this water-based oil paint because it kind of negates some of the danger that comes with actual oil paint. And I love the fact that it's a little bit more accessible. We are done. She is so cute. I'm so happy with her. I haven't painted in years. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed myself. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great evening. Bye!